The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Video Games to the Max, as this is the officially, because it's right on the dot, the last podcast of 2017 for the entire W2 network and for this show specifically. This is episode 174, and with me as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
Well, we still have to get the written part on the side, but that one's almost done. I'm waiting on one person to send me their stuff, and then I'll start putting the articles together, and we'll have it up there. And which is nice because we're hitting that part of January where like nothing comes out that's important. It's more towards the middle of the month, so you get like a couple of weeks to still enjoy 2017, as it were, and then 2018 starts kicking in. But so, how did you enjoy your Christmas? And we're here on New Year's Eve doing this, but anything on Christmas?
No, I made the Christmas gift of paying my cable bill off.
Yeah, I paid about 3 different bills, and bought Anaya one of the gifts that were still on her list, since I hadn't been able to buy her anything until I got the Christmas money. And took her to an amusement park yesterday. She had a lot of fun. That's the first time she's been to one of those, at least with me there. So first time I got to ride the bumper cars and ride a Ferris wheel in probably since I was a kid. So that was nice.
Since ever.
Yeah, nice to have memories for that. I think the last time I did anything was Six Flags back in college, when I finally got over the fear of roller coasters and decided, you know what, screw it. If I die on this coaster, I guess I died. I didn't, obviously, but I was screaming and hollering while that was going on. But on this show, we do have a major topic we're going to. So this is the last day of 2017. How appropriate that we're looking ahead to 2018 and talking about games that we're anticipating for this year. We are not taking into account, even though we might mention that we think they might, we're still going with the thought that these games are going to hit in 2018. I would say about a fourth of them probably won't, and they'll get delayed. There's already 2 games, Psychonauts and
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, that have both been delayed till 2019. So 2 games that people were anticipating already. We won't be talking about those for another, I'd say, 6 months or so before they do anything. Probably E3 is when we'll see something else about those. But yeah, so we each have a number of games that we're anticipating personally, and then we also have some that we're both of us together are looking at. And of course, we got some news, not a lot of it, and we got some games that we've been playing. Mark, what have you been checking out since the last time?
So banging away at Okami, still kind of screwing around with Call of Duty. The big one I played I got just during the Steam holiday sale currently going on still is Grim Legend. It's a action RPG like Diablo or like Torchlight, but it is like basically Diablo 2.
Like pretty much.
Like looks like it. The inventory is kind of the same. It's kind of ugly in the way that Diablo 2 was. I mean, it's a better looking game, obviously, but it kind of has that kind of dark look to it, or like kind of brown look that Diablo 1 and 2 used to have. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, with the Torchlight maker going down, I think we talked about it on the last show.
Yeah,
It's
Runic. Oh, that was a few shows ago, but yeah, Runic went down. So
nice to see that some of these are still around, Diablo clones, and hey, if they do it right, you'll play it. Like Mark is talking about, we'll be talking about another one that's similar to that very shortly, coming in the Xbox games for gold. But anything else you want to?
A buddy of mine got me Marvel Ultimate Alliance for PS4, like so we can play it together. That game runs like crap on a PS4. It's really depressing.
That's what I heard. A lot of people talking about. Oh, we were so excited. I remember both of us being excited about. Oh, we can finally play these on the current gen systems. I think you got. Didn't you get?
I done a PC also,
Yeah.
and it runs better on there. I don't know if it's running worse. I mean, we were playing online also, and I didn't have this problem like when I was playing by myself. But it was very stuttery, kind of like hiccupy in spots. Like the frame rate kept like kind of oscillating between like good and not good. Yeah, I mean it's a shame because like that game's not that complicated. Like, and it ran fine on PS3 and 360. Like, I don't know what the problem is.
Even when there's a lot going on screen, the way the characters are, it's not like they're, big time modeled and there's these huge, big attacks happening. I mean, they're within a certain, a modest range. I don't know if they updated that for the PS4 or whatever, but I don't remember it being this. I do remember the game on 360 and PS3 kind of still being a little chuggy, but that was probably also due to those systems.
Maybe. There was one, I ran into a bug. I was playing by myself. I downloaded it one night. And I got to like the first main story mission to get to like to the hub area. And I talked to one of the characters' vision, and not my selected character, but the character I think on the right in the like character select wheel. Like during the conversation would be in the middle of like between both characters, giant sized.
Okay.
And I could select different characters and they'd still be giant sized, and I was like, what? Like I even took
type in something you didn't know you did.
No, I was on a PS4. Like I can't type anything in.
Wow, that's
I took a video of it. I'll probably upload it later. But I was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, big bug there. I mean, did you get to play with them giant size or?
No, they were just in that one cutscene or one dialogue branch or dialogue conversation. That was it.
Oh, okay.
But I'd end it. I'd select another character, and then a different character would be giant sized, and I was like, huh. All right.
Maybe you unlock them giant size later.
No. That's not supposed to happen.
Either way, Activision and all those involved messed up on that one. Did it happen again? Just that one time?
Yeah, just the one time. I like the developer is the people publishing it. They were a company called Zoe Mode. They've done not great work.
I'm gonna guess they're one of those port companies.
Now they are. They used to actually be a developer, but not anymore. Like they made a PSP game called Crush, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, back when Sony cared about its handheld.
Yeah, and they made a bunch of like Kinect crap that no one cared about, like Grease the game.
Well, that will get you to die very fast.
Yeah.
Thinking,
that was a Wii game.
Rare,
that was a Wii game, but still, yeah.
Oof. Yeah, let's. Unless we get to talk about Kinect, we're good. We're good on that one. Anything else for you?
A friend of mine got me some WoW time, so I launched into that today, and it's still a little changed, but still fine.
Does it make you consider getting the expansion at all? Now that.
Well, I'll be the one reviewing it, so yes.
Well, that makes it fair enough there on that one. But
the one really interesting thing is it's been probably 10 months, 11 months since I played like last time. But maybe even like longer, maybe like a year and a half. And like the minute I logged in, they gave me like they're like, here's a new item for you. I forget what it was called, but it's like gain 20, like it was like gain 21 billion artifact power, and I was like, what? I remember the last time I was playing, and I still had a few items where getting like even 20,000 artifact power was like a big deal, and this is like gain 21 billion, and I was like, all right, I guess.
Would that make you like on par with everybody else or something? I mean, it seems
Well,
like a
like
random number.
they add like more artifact power, like traits, so I guess they scaled it up a little. But the problem with that game really is like they keep with every expansion, they always inflate the numbers like more and more. So, I mean, they did like a number crush, I think like 2 expansions ago because it was getting ridiculous. But now it's ridiculous again. So I don't know what the difference is.
What are you gonna go up to like 71 billion artifact power next time? I mean,
Well, now I'm getting stuff. It's like if you complete this quest, gain 5 million artifact power, and I was like, I remember, like I said, I remember doing a quest and getting like 4,000 and being happy with that, not not 5 million.
Jesus, 5 million seems a bit excessive there, but whatever works for you, Blizzard. You can do these things when Overwatch is still making you bukus of money over there.
Yeah,
And Hearthstone as well, I guess.
yeah. The reason I logged on, well, he gave me a code for like a year, and the reason I logged on now was because I wanted to get like the Christmas present out of the way, and like the Christmas present this year was like a Hearthstone toy thing.
Would you do anything with it?
I don't know. Like you can invite people to play. I don't know if it is like an animation or something. It's kind of silly, but I mean, most of the toys are pretty silly, so that's the whole point.
Fun gift for them to give you.
Yeah.
On Christmas. But that wrap it up for you, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, since the last time when we had the show with where we ranked our best 25 of the year, which you can still go listen to. It is there. Just look up, if you're subscribing to our feed, it should show up there. It should have like a Persona picture. If you are one of those that goes on YouTube, just search for Video Games to the Max, the best games of 2017. It should be there. Because I liked Xenoblade 2 so much, I got into playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which originally I had bought my new 3DS for. Played it for like a week and thought it was too obtuse and couldn't get into it. And then all of a sudden after I played 2, this felt like somewhat simpler. So I would say after beating 1, which that took me another 15, so I beat 2 in 15 days and I beat 1 in another 15 days. They're about the same length of time. I would say that 1 is better story-wise because it deals with more mature stuff. It still, has some kind of crazy stuff in it that, knowing that you live on 2 titans named Bionis and Mechonis and they can eventually come alive and all that kind of stuff depending on what happens is still crazy. But I think the characters overall, I don't know that they stuck with me as much as the ones in 2, mainly because 1 has some characters that kind of seem like they don't seem important. But I think overall the number 2 got streamlined, but number 1 had some simpler mechanics that make it a little bit easier to understand. And the only thing it was a Wii game originally, and then on 3DS it looks bad. Because the cutscenes still look good, but on that 240p screen, just some of it's like I'd have to decide whether I wanted to go watch it on YouTube or just watch it on my screen because sometimes it just kind of looked a little warped or whatever. But still a cool story, and like now when you and I guess if Super Smash Bros. Ever gets ported over to Switch, I'll know the story behind Shulk and probably want to use him more. But
Heh.
yeah, and now there's rumors that they might, because I think the next game that they're making has nothing to do with the Xeno games at all. But there's rumors going around that they might port Chronicles X, the Wii U game that has nothing to do with the other two games, over to Switch in anticipation for Chronicles X2 coming at some point. So it'd be kind of cool to get to play a game I had on Wii U and never played because I had to trade my Wii U in for other personal problems. But still, pretty great game. If you like the second one and for some reason have a new 3DS, which I think that's probably rare, go find this game. It's probably pretty still expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like $60 or $80 because it's fairly out of print. But yeah, go for it. It's great. Finally got to play Night in the Woods. I'm on part 2. I don't know how far that is in the game, but it's I think everything that people are giving all the praise for, I could definitely see it. The story is very interesting. Deals with a lot of serious themes. You play as a female cat, and she has her cat family and her whole entire town that are a bunch of animals and like best friends. And she's like a college dropout that comes home and has to deal with the reality of what happens after that. And you get to deal with a town that's also dealing with a bunch of different things. And and there's a lot to explore in that town. There's shops that you go into, and you talk to your friends that work at these various shops. And it's not a whole lot like a fighting or anything, but it does have some cool little mini games you can play as well. One of them is sort of like a knockoff on Hyper Light Drifter, which I find interesting. But yeah, I definitely think like for an indie game, I think it was on sale maybe that first week of the PSN sale. I haven't seen it on sale anywhere else. But still, for $20, I think it's definitely worth it. And all the people that are putting it in the high, it was number 24 or 23 for our list, but the people that are ranking it even higher, after playing it, I think I definitely would not have a problem with anybody that wants to put it in like their top 5 or anything. And I'm not even done with the story yet, and it's very much resonating with me. Of course, I'm a person that can identify with that greatly, so that may also add to that as well. But yeah, I think even if you don't necessarily are not a college dropout yourself like I am, or someone that's not, because a lot of people that graduate, you're still having to work jobs that you don't necessarily should be working. I think it can still resonate with a lot of different people. So I think it's definitely a game people should get. In this like 15 or so days before any kind of big games hit. If you got $20 to spare, go check it out on PS4, Xbox One, PC. Well worth it on there. And I think maybe on that winter sale, it's $5 off.
Probably.
Yeah. And last one, I guess, I was Lost Spear has a demo on the PS4 and Switch. I got it on the Switch. It's really short. It's like an hour, I want to say. And it's pretty much the same as I Am Setsuna. The only thing that's different is that you can have your party turn into robots, but there's a gauge that goes down with how much you use their talents when they're robots. Other than that, I think it's pretty much the same. Like it has the same art style. It has the same like Chrono Trigger active time battle gameplay. Obviously different setting. Like you're the Empire this time, at least in this demo, and you are trying to, I guess, essentially knock out the rebels. And then it kind of ends with you questioning whether or not that was the right decision. And I guess that's sort of where it would start off in the proper game. And it actually comes out January 23rd, so it won't be too long now. You'll get to play it. But I thought it was pretty decent. They make you pretty quickly strategize in that game because the boss that you play at the end makes you have to think about what you're doing and decide what you want to do in that battle. But I don't know. Hopefully they explain the thing with the robots better because I almost found them kind of unnecessary. Like I didn't really think I needed to use them. Like the characters by themselves without the robot thing other than the robots apparently get like things that you can use outside of battle to destroy rocks and stuff like that to get extra items. But in battle, I didn't feel like they were totally like important. So I hope in the main game they explain their reasoning better. But outside of that, I thought it was okay. And there's also this weird mechanic at the beginning where you're planting stuff and making these things that looks like a strategy game map before you go on to the inside one of the towns that you're supposed to go to. So it seems like there's lots of mechanics going on. So again, things that they perhaps need to explain more when the game's going on. But yeah, so it's nice to have this time off to be able to play some games.
Going back to what you said, I like to play a game where you are part of the evil empire and you just stay with them throughout the rest of the game.
I hope they like give you a choice or something, because it would be kind of interesting. That's what I was thinking too when I was playing that. I was like, this is kind of actually different that you're playing the bad guys.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it happens. I mean, it happens in like Battlefront 2. I mean,
well, yeah.
I mean, a lot of games. Or it happens a lot.
Too.
It happens a lot in the Suikoden games.
Oh, okay. That is a series I always mean to try out, and I don't.
Yeah. But yeah, like you're part of the evil empire, and then you like it'd be fun to play like Final Fantasy VII, like through the eyes of Sephiroth.
Yeah, I mean, or even the Turks.
Yeah,
it could be kind of interesting just to see their like what they have to go through or whatever. Hey, Square Enix, if you're gonna take like 5 years to make episodes for Final Fantasy VII, why not give us a spin-off episode and let us see how that is to play as Sephiroth or play as somebody on the evil side over there.
No, they're gonna take them long enough to redo Final Fantasy VII. I don't want them to add more shit into it.
I would not be surprised at all if they add in some of the stuff from Advent Children, but we'll see.
Or Crisis Core.
Well, that wouldn't be bad. That is kind of part of the story that's sort of interesting.
Was missing.
Yeah. Well, plus, I mean, I guess you can't play it. Can you play it downloaded on your Vita? Or is that
That might be exclusive, I'm not sure. The PSP had a really dodgy online store, so I doubt it, but maybe.
Yeah, see, if it's exclusive to PSP even more so, you brought over Type O.
Yeah.
You'd think that they would have brought that over. That's actually one of the more... Well, doesn't Type O use the Crisis Core system?
Yeah, but Type O never came out officially in America, so I think that's why they had more reason to, like, redo it, essentially, for PS4.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. But alright, so moving on to some news before we get into talking about games coming out next year. Well, yeah, technically still 3 hours before on Eastern time it hits New Year's here. But alright, so for PlayStation Plus, pretty big game, Deus Ex. Mankind Divided.
Deus
Ex, sorry. I always say this wrong.
It's because you're Spanish.
Probably. So, what do you think? Did you play it?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. I remember you talking about it, so I don't remember if you... Did you end up liking it, or...?
I mean, it's worse than the last one, than Human Revolution, I think. No, Human Revolution, like the one that came before it. But it's still a fine enough game. Like, I'm surprised. I mean, it's a full-featured game, so... And if you haven't played that series before, I could say good... I mean, it's a sequel, so it's kind of hard to, like, jump into it, but
right.
You'll pick it up well enough, I think.
You think people could play this and then say if they wanted to go find Human Revolution on the cheap?
Well, yeah, probably.
It'd be worth it for them.
They are very similar, let's say that.
Okay. Yeah, so there, it's free. You just download it if you have PlayStation Plus, obviously. Batman the Telltale series, I never got past like episode 2 on that, so I guess this gives me a reason to maybe go back and go through that again.
I didn't even get past episode 1.
I think I started episode 2, got halfway through, and then I never went back to it. Sacred 3, which I feel like's been out on. I know for sure it's been out on Xbox 360 before.
Yeah.
That one's PS3, and Book of Unwritten Tales too on PS3. Psychopath Mandatory Happiness on Vita and PS4. I have that on PC, so I guess I could finally play that. Even though I need to go watch the Psychopaths anime, probably for that to make sense. Uncanny Valley, which we have a review for that on the site. You can go check that out. Vita and PS4 is actually a pretty decent little game, according to Stephanie. And Starblood Arena, which is a PS4 game that will actually be available for you for free until March 6th. So, if Daniel has not been paying attention, you have that PSVR. Go grab it. I do remember people saying that this was kind of okay. That, multiplayer and VR is kind of not always great.
Yeah.
So, Xbox Games for Gold, Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3. I didn't even know they had a 3.
Yeah, but then they released a thing that was like a collected works, all of them together.
Oh, okay. I know you played at least one, right?
Yeah, I played the first one, and then I did a review of the collection, and I was just like, yep, it's all 3 games. Like, the first game's long enough, so I can't imagine playing those other 2.
I thought it was a good enough Diablo clone.
Oh yeah, I mean it's competent.
Right.
It's kind of without personality, I would say.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the characters at all. I didn't resonate with anything, and that's probably why I stopped playing it. It's kind of like, okay, I'm just in here doing this and
Yeah.
nothing. But Zombie, which, yeah.
It's a Zombie U, or it was.
The Zombie U port that went over to PS4 and Xbox One. Tomb Raider Underworld for Xbox One and 360, and Army of Two, which that's a fine enough game if you play co-op. So, all right. So talking about actual news here, so over the holidays, people always like to talk about sales and what my games did during Christmas and whatever. And we'll talk about what the Switch did. For now in Japan, but vintage game sellers said the Nintendo 64 was their highest seller during the holidays. Do you think that any of this makes Nintendo go, you know what? Maybe we do need to make a 64 classic.
No, I think they thought that already.
Oh. Well, I'm just saying, maybe it gives them a little justification and people are going out there looking for it, so...
Well, the problem with the N64, there's 2 real problems. One is you need a more powerful computer or Android thing to run it than the SNES Classic or NES Classic. I mean, those things are the same circuit board. Just the SNES one has more RAM for some reason.
Right, but you said there's a hack that you can put SNES Classic games in the NES Classic, right?
Yeah, that's why. I mean, that's the same board. I mean, so why not? But if you need, you can't do N64 emulation on that thing at all. You need I wouldn't say I don't know how much more expensive, but you need a more expensive, circuit board and Android computer to run it all.
Yeah, I mean, you need a rather decent computer for it to run well without lagging too. So I can imagine you might have to get into the 120 range or so if they don't want to be losing money every time. But
well, that's also part of the second problem is how many controllers would you pack in with that thing?
You have to at least pack 2 if you put in for the SNES.
I mean, I think
I don't know you can put all 4 though.
Well, I think that'd be the expectation because that console had 4 controller ports. I think 4 is a pipe dream. I think 2, like you said, 2 is probably more accurate, and makes you just have N64 controllers for sale because you can't even find SNES Classic controllers for sale at all.
I could see them also doing a bundle where you get 2 extra controllers for something maybe 30 more, $150.
Yeah,
because they also probably won't be the same. They won't be the same 64 controller port. It'll be different, right? So you.
Oh no, it'll be the Wii controller port or the Wii controller. I think that's what the SNES Classic and NES are.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be. It's not like you're going to be able. to go in and go, oh, I have an old 64 controller, let me plug that in. You won't be able to. So they'll be able to. I apologize if you hear kids. We're doing this at like 9 o'clock at night, so this is when they're still awake. But or just my one here, but yeah. So like I think that maybe it would be less expensive than say what 64 controllers were, where they're like $35 a pop or $40.
Yeah.
So they could probably take the hit on doing a 2 for 30.
I also think that if they I think that's a controller that it might do some good to get redesigned.
Yeah, that's true too. Even though I could see them saying, "Oh, we're not going to touch it. This is meant to be a retro system."
I mean, they could say that, but they're lying. Like, that controller was very, still even is divisive. So, I think,
but if they don't touch any of the games, I don't think they're going to touch the controllers either.
Yeah, but none of those games, like barely any of those games, use the L button or that D-pad.
Yeah, it's true. But then you've got you would assume that Super Smash Brothers would be in there.
And it doesn't use the L. It doesn't use any of those things.
You do have to use the C buttons, and you have to use the joystick.
Yes, not the D-pad or the L button, though. That's the thing.
Well, I don't think. Go ahead.
Oh no! It's just that's the thing. Is half that, a third of that controller is used in 4 games total. That
right.
They were all third-party games, and Nintendo's not going to put in that system in the first place, or on a classic edition in the first place. So,
well, if you're WWE, don't even think about putting No Mercy on there. Nobody will ever buy your 2K games again. So,
well, they wouldn't put that on there it's a third-party game, a licensed third-party game. So hell no.
Oh no, they wouldn't. I'm just in a pipe dream, probably perhaps one of, if not the best wrestling game ever, put it on there and watch everybody play that and just be like, oh, 2K, what? Who cares? Let's just play this. But no, I think honestly you'll get all the expected games.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, I wonder if they would even get to 20. Those games are big also. They're much bigger. So are you doing 15? Are you doing 10? Are you doing 12?
I could see 20, and I could see them upgrading to 1 gigabyte of flash. Because even 512, flash memory is just getting cheaper and cheaper. That's the thing.
Right.
Is the biggest one they couldn't get, they'd like to, is probably GoldenEye, and it's just too much of a mess. Even Perfect Dark would probably be kind of messed up.
I think that they do the online stuff with Microsoft now. I'm sure they could probably work something out where they'd let them have Perfect Dark if they really wanted it, which would probably mean they'd also have to give Microsoft a cut, and they may not want to do that either.
Yeah.
Which could be another reason why I could see them. Well, they put all the other Donkey Kong games, so they own those. Never mind.
Yeah.
Although Rare still gets some kind of cut from that, right?
You have to assume so, but a small one, because...
Yeah, because it's just Nintendo owns the property. They just...
unless they don't. It just could have been work for hire. You never know.
Yeah, or it could have been something in the deal with Microsoft where Rare now no longer gets royalties off the... off stuff like Donkey Kong, which they own.
Yeah.
Where they would still get... I could also see them perhaps not doing Banjo-Kazooie.
No, because Microsoft owns them.
Yeah,
owns that, sure.
But that'd be so weird to not have a Nintendo console without, Banjo or something. That's when I think of 64. That's one of the games I think about. So it's kind of...
That's not one of the games I think about.
I don't know. I've played it a lot on my 64. So
I guess it was a competent enough game, but compared to Mario or even Donkey Kong 64, it's nope.
Is
way.
There really 20 games though when you get outside the Nintendo sphere?
Turok 1, let's go.
I doubt that highly, but
I mean,
I
there's
can,
there probably is at least 20 games though, 20 Nintendo games for sure. Like, you may not call them all classics, but I mean, they could put like Kirby Crystal Shards on there, or 1080 snowboarding, or Diddy Kong Racing. Like, I
yeah,
would. I don't think of them as classic games, but they could.
yeah, taking like the 3 Mario based game. Oh, you also have the. I would hope they wouldn't put like more than one Mario Party, but who knows? With them to try to make sure less people get money out of it. But you got the Mario Tennis and the Mario Kart, and is
Mario
that
Golf,
it?
like I mean,
Mario
there's a ton
Golf,
of
yeah,
Mario games. Yeah,
yeah, and the party and all that. It's Smash Bros. So I think they could seriously almost do one with just Mario and Zelda, and just say, oh, here's a 64 with those two.
yeah.
But you'd think they would at least have to, they'd have to add a Kirby in there and a few others just to make up the numbers and have different things.
I mean, they could get 20, but it's just a matter of they'd have to dip more into third-party stuff. I think a little more, and
Is there a huge RPG that was big on
no,
that system?
Quest 64. Let's go.
Oh God, no.
No, I mean there's never a big RPG. I mean Paper
Yeah,
Mario. That's about
yeah,
it.
Paper Mario. Yeah, that's true.
Or
They
like
could do that.
Harvest Moon, I think came to 64 also.
I wonder
But
if they would, but yeah. Eh.
I mean, look how well whatever did Stardew Valley. I mean, they'd
I
be
would
dumb
also
not
wonder
to.
if they do an original Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket thing together or something before they would do 64. But
Maybe. I mean, honestly, if they did that, they should just release it on like phones. Like, here's your phone.
yeah,
I mean, they wouldn't
they,
do that because they're dumb, but
well, they do say that the phone games do make people pick up other games for their systems, so
yeah,
it does work. So their strategy works and they're trying to make more phone games, so they obviously like what's going on here. Obviously, don't have a Pokemon Go event and then have it not work when everybody goes to Chicago. But aside from that, I mean, most of it's been pretty competent. That's still one of like the worst stories of the years. You have all these people gathering in Chicago to play Pokemon Go, and then it doesn't work. But yeah, so still talking about Nintendo here because the Switch had some big news. It became the fastest selling console ever in Japan based on first year sales, defeating the PS2.
yeah. I mean, it's Japan and they like portable systems, so it makes sense.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense with Japan, and Japan, they do a lot of people that are there. I've seen them talk about. You are starting to see people actually be in lines for something, and they'll pull out their Switch.
Yeah,
So it is starting to, it's making a dent in the society again. It's still very hard to find the system as well when it's not being mass produced for situations like this. So people are flocking to it, and that's good to see. I'm glad to see it continue to make records, and I guess this is also coming off of them being able to say, look, we're making good strides here. Let's not do anything crazy. Is Nintendo delaying the 64 gigabyte carts to developers for an entire year? You won't see them till 2019. Now, what this does is it makes it to where they would have had more space than a Blu-ray, and obviously makes it to where you can make bigger games. So now publishers are holding off on bringing some of their bigger games. Perhaps might have been able to get some more of these games to have day and date ports with their PS4 and Xbox One X counterparts. You won't get that. Do you think this is a good idea or bad idea? Because I think having played, like Xenoblade 2, I felt like that would have been one of those games that they could have delayed and would have really benefited from being on one of these 64 gig cards, because they tried to make a PS4 game fit on the Switch, and you could see it sometimes with the texture mapping and everything. I'd imagine that even though it's too late now, they're already making it for this, but like Wolfenstein 2, those guys, Bethesda would have loved to have something like that for that. But do you think this is a good idea, or?
It's a good idea for Nintendo because it's going to be cheaper in a year. It'll be cheaper. The downside, obviously, is like it's going to somewhat harm third-party development. But as we've seen 2K do, they don't give a fuck, and they'll just have whatever they can fit on the cart, like the single player, and go download the multiplayer, or like Skyrim or something. It's like, or Doom. It's like, all right, here's here's a chunk of the game, and if you want the rest, fill up your SD card.
Yeah, we have seen Doom work pretty well, and Skyrim, of course, works pretty well. Of course, that's also a very old game, so you'd imagine that it should.
Like, I don't think visual fidelity is held back by. The graphics are held back by the storage medium at all. Like, because Mario is like a 6 GB game. It's like that game looks amazing on the Switch. Like,
I think that's also Nintendo knows what they're doing with that too.
Yeah, so, but I mean, I think if like Xenoblade had a 64 GB cart, I mean, I don't think it would matter one way or the other. You'd be like, all right.
I'd imagine the texture mapping wouldn't be as bad as it is, but yeah, the storage is important for a reason for these developers. So,
but no, it's not, because they can just say download the rest of the game. Like, if you don't like it, blame Nintendo. But we've seen them do that already. So,
well, I mean, I don't think Wall Street Journal is reporting this for no reason, though. That some publishers are holding off on their games because of that. But.
Sure, but Nintendo doesn't really care either way. Like, I don't think any of their games probably cracks that 32 GB cart limit, so they're happy as it is, probably.
Oh yeah, they're happy. I mean, they know that the Switch is doing fine, and I think this is why they could afford to do that, right? They don't have to rush anything because the Switch is doing fine. They already know what they're coming out with for next year. They have probably a nice lineup again, and I'm sure during the first Direct we'll probably hear more about it, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up we're giving you one big game a month thing again, but even if it's one big game every 2 months, still a pretty nice turnaround, and not to mention you're getting like 20 freaking indie games and other kinds of games showing up on that thing like every week, so they can afford to do it. Had they been in, say, like Microsoft position, I wonder if they would say, let's hurry up and get this over. We need to get this available to them right now.
But they're not desperate like Microsoft is, so that helps.
That is very true. On that end, I think this ends the whole... Talking 2 more things about sales here, because this is kind of what the whole news has been about. Call of Duty, World War II, and Destiny 2 are the highest selling games of 2017. It shouldn't surprise anyone, I guess. But,
where does Battlefront 2 fit in?
Nowhere near any of this. Call of Duty surpassed $1 billion in sell-through worldwide. This is the ninth consecutive year in North America that this is the top-selling series.
Yeah, probably.
And 8 out of 9 times worldwide. Good Lord. And here we thought World War II might be a bad decision.
I mean, I'm even playing it, and I still kind of think it is, but that's me.
That nostalgia kills, man. It does. Have they fixed the HQ yet?
Oh yeah, that's been fixed for a while now. Like,
okay.
Although I did load in like 1 or 2 times, and it was just kind of empty, and I'm like, what?
That's great. So did you finally get to unlock your achievement that you needed for the...
Oh yeah, the first time it loaded up, I was like, all right, let's get this stupid quest out of the way, and I did it, and that was it.
And then Destiny 2, of course, is number 2. It had been number 1, I think, until Call of Duty came in and thrashed it. And also Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is the top-selling remaster in PS4 history. So... yeah, keep those remasters coming. At least if your name is Crash, anyway. It's making some.
That's kind of a shame because I think like there were better remasters that should have sold. I think should have sold better.
I hope that means that we'll get a Jack collection or a Ratchet collection then.
Well, I already got that one Ratchet game. Like I wouldn't mind just another one of those. I think the problem with collections is they just get overwhelming at a certain point. Like the reason I got into Ratchet and Clank so much is because it was a singular game. Like if it was like, all right, now play 3 more of these, it's like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's also, you're talking about like 3 or 4 games in one thing. Do you have the time to play all that? All that
yeah,
too?
I didn't even play the. I think I have the Uncharted collection. I didn't even play that, and I've never played Uncharted 2 or 3.
Really? Yeah,
No.
I still need to go back and actually, I guess, restart 1 on the collection because I got like, I think a fourth of the way through that on the original PS3 game, and
I've played and beaten that on the PS3, but like looking at the collection, I'm just like I don't want to play either of these 2 games. Like I'm good.
and those are supposed to be the 2 better ones.
Yeah, especially 2, yeah, but just no desire, and it's just like I said, overwhelming.
Yeah, it does when you look at those and go, goodness, that's a lot of game time, and there's these other games I want to play, and yeah, so. But I guess they're there for you if you want them and you want the nostalgia, like with Crash, and
Yeah.
people just buying that big time. Cuphead also sold 2 million copies across Xbox and PC. Great to hear because those people worked so hard on that game to do the hand drawn stuff, and it's one of the best games of the year. We thought so, and so many other people thought so. Some people are ranking it really high, which totally understand. It's an absolute technical marvel, artistic marvel, and it's a really great game just by itself. So it does things so well, just the way it is, and it's freaking hard too. So I know there's a lot of people that love the let's just play a hard game play a hard game. That lives up to the bill as well. So for $20, freaking bargain, honestly, for all the stuff that's in there.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about like maybe wanting to get it on PC or?
I mean, if I had the money, sure, but I'd probably want to get Sonic Mania more, like personally.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good too. So can't go wrong there either. Speaking of pretty good for the bargain, and especially if you get the big old collection pack, Persona 3 and 5, they're coming together as they're going to launch at the same time in Japan, May 24, 2018. So might be able to show up here, depending. I don't think that they'll have to do too much translation though. I can't imagine you're doing there's a lot of dialogue. So it may not take that long for it to show up here.
I mean, you say that, but look at like Persona 4 Arena. Like that had a lot of dialogue.
That's different though. How long did it take the Persona 4 dancing all night thing to?
No clue.
Wasn't that in the same? The power of the internet, I guess. I'll look that up while we keep talking. So this is coming out PS4 and Vita, and they're doing a triple pack where if you get the collection that has both 3 and 5 together, you can get 4 as a digital download, which I think is a great idea because 4 never came to PS4. So that way you have 3, 4, and 5 all together. I think that's what I would do if I was getting this.
Yeah.
I've seen the trailer. I thought it was pretty interesting on for both of those. Getting these at all? I mean,
yeah, that'll probably be one I hope to get for review because I don't think I'd spend money on it necessarily. But I'm just not that type of rhythm game fan. But if it's Persona related, I mean, I'll stick with it.
That was another thing I forgot to mention about one of the mini games that's in Night in the Woods is basically like you play bass rock band style, so that wins points with me because she is a bass player in the band that you're in, and then when you get a song, you play with your controller, but you basically play a rhythm game there to play the song. But I mean, having only played Persona 5, I would probably just only get that one. But I'm a rhythm game person. I'd have to see gameplay of it. But the just for the soundtrack alone, I think it's worth it. 'Cause the soundtrack to 5 is amazing. So
I've played all three of them, so I mean that's where. And
yeah,
it looks
I mean,
like, it's the gameplay is you have 6 buttons: up, left, down, and triangles, circle, X, and icons fly at them. The icons fly away, and you have to press the button at the same time. I mean that's kind of the same thing. That's kind of like most rhythm games from Japan nowadays.
so not too convoluted at least.
No, it looks like a Hatsune Miku game kind of.
Okay. Not too bad. So it looks like in Japan it came out in June 2015, and in North America released in September. So not that long of a wait. So could definitely, that's even earlier than before. So if we're going by that timeline, could show up in August here.
Yeah.
So cool that we will get that here in America probably August, September 2018. Sad news, or well, before we get to that, Atlas also, not only with this, I should also mention that if you get the big collection pack, you'll get costumes for various Shin Megami Tensei games, which include 1 through 4 and almost all the other ones. There's so many, I'm not gonna sit here and go through them, but yeah, if you're big into the SMT, which I've liked some of them, that's well worth it for you too, and getting the collection there. Another remake to talk about, Catherine Full Body, coming early 2019. So here's another game we're talking about a freaking year away. PS4 and Vita. There's a new character, not just Catherine with a C and Catherine with a K. You also get to play as Vincent with a new female character, a new female arc, I guess, in Rin. And this brought a lot of controversy as well because there's a lot of hidden, or not, well, it's not really hidden because it's been shown very obviously on the website as well, that perhaps Rin is a trans character. And considering the way that they already treat the other trans character in that game, we're going to have some angry non-Japanese people when they play this game. And there's already been a lot of vitriol online about how I'm not playing this game because I expect that they're going to plead the,
Well, I mean, it ain't for them.
I mean, because I have this problem sometimes too. Like I'm kind of almost done with it, but it's one of the things that's kind of kept me from finishing it is I have to deal with the whole, how do I address in it, talking about Xenoblade 2 with the character designs and all that stuff. And almost everybody addresses it, and it's either the whole, oh, I don't care because I like anime, or it's the whole, it shouldn't be like this, this is embarrassing, whatever. And then if you take the stance of, well, this is not my culture, everybody gets mad and says that you're just accepting of something that's bad or whatever. Like, how do you feel about that kind of thing? Like, are you one of those that just says, well, it's a Japanese game, let them do it the way they want to do it? Or do you think that they kind of need to adjust for the world at large? Or
I mean, I think they're, like, certain Japanese games are made for a worldwide audience, and some aren't, but they still get brought over. Like, ultimately, my position always is if you don't like it, you don't play it. Like, don't buy it. Like, fuck off, really. Like, I'm sure... I mean, they're not, like, Japan's not a big shooter culture, so, like, when Call of Duty comes out, they don't give a fuck about that game. Like, and, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that, I don't think this one doesn't have where they go to Japan, right? In World War II? Or
No.
Okay, so, like, in the other ones where they might have, I'm sure there was probably people that were not happy about how they were depicted.
Yeah, but they don't care about that game series anyway. So, like, I mean, what are they going to do? Not sell copies they wouldn't sell in the first place? Like, I think it's people just getting too personally involved, or like not able to separate themselves away from what the designers and developers are trying to do. Like,
but wouldn't you say that, like, considering how popular some of Atlus's games are, that they are now reaching that stage where, and especially, Catherine does have a following here, obviously.
Not a huge one. I mean,
I wouldn't, not huge, but I'm saying, like, I think just from, I mean, they had the bad PR with the whole, you can't stream Persona 5, whatever thing. Then they had to go backtrack on that. And then, like, thinking about it and seeing how big the reception is for Persona here, and the SMT games do decently well. I don't think they do anywhere near what Persona does. And then you have this game, which is sort of like, dating sim-ish with the weird gameplay where you move the boxes around or whatever. And,
well, I mean, Catherine fans are going to buy this thing anyway, so, I mean...
Yeah, I think so. Well, definitely the people that have it on, like, their PS3s or 360, they probably will. Just because, getting to play it on, the PS4, definitely. I think this is actually probably a pretty decent game to get on Vita as well, because having the portability with when you do the levels, when you're actually moving the box. Did you like this game, or?
I don't play it. I don't care.
Played it?
Like, I know the dating part is, like, interesting, but that block movie shit, like, boring ass shit to me.
Oh my god, the block shit. Let me tell you, it gets to the point where it's ridiculous. Like, it's just like, how the hell am I supposed to get to the top of this thing without dying?
Watch a YouTube video, because they have it all. They don't.
I know, but it's just like, good lord. Like, some of it was just ridiculous. Like, I actually want to go play the rest of the story and the dating part and whatever, try to figure out, which Catherine fits with me better or whatever. But yeah, and there's also apparently going to be more levels of that too, or a different kind of addition to that. And I had no idea that there was a multiplayer component to this where people were like really into that.
They're speedrunning it to try to get to the tower faster because they have no lives.
I just thought that was interesting that, like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So, like, that you learn stuff like that when they decide to, talk about a remake of a game is sort of interesting. But, yeah, expect as more stuff comes out about, if Ren is really trans or not, even though there's apparently, like, they use a trans logo. And
there's already a trans character, and also, who cares? Like, that's ultimately my point. Like, if you don't like it, don't play it.
I know, but that Kotaku and all these other websites that do this kind of thing, you're going to see that a lot, where they're going to be damning this thing. It's already on Kotaku right now, of them pulling tweets from people saying exactly what I just said about how they won't play this or they think it's wrong.
They're just looking to get hits and sensationalize it. Like, they're not the arbiters of good taste. Like, or even like that newsworthy. Like, fuck them. Like,
no, yeah, I agree with you. I just think this is a thing that happens every time you talk about a Japanese game. Happened with Dragon Crown. It's going to happen again with it getting the PS4 Pro thing. It's going to happen with, so many other things. Every time it's, look at the way they drew this character or whatever. I get it. I get that people want character designs to change, and I think as somebody that has a daughter, I do think about that sometimes, about, like, if I ever watch an anime, how do I feel about this as far as, like, okay, well, obviously, this is a cartoon, like, don't think about this in a way that affects you, but, people are just, I think at some points we have to remember that this is a different culture than the one that we're speaking from. And even though yes, you could change it and make it more for the world or whatever, but then it also affects them, and it affects their bottom line too. We got to think about they're trying to make money, and what appeals to the people that are trying to buy this game. And it is what it is sometimes. Once again, Activision runs into their problem with licenses. What would you know? They have pulled, and I haven't checked to see if they're still on the Xbox store or not, because this story is kind of a little old. I probably could while we're doing this, but so they've apparently lost a license to all the Transformers games on PS4 and PC, and they had to pull them all, including also a non-Transformer game in the Legend of Korra as well. There are some good Transformers games, so it's kind of sad to see.
Really, it's annoying because they should have told people ahead of time. Like, if you ever wanted to buy this game, buy it, before this date.
That's really weird. Does nobody at Activision pay attention to that stuff? That happened with the Marvel thing too.
No, they do, because they did it with Deadpool. Like that's not. I mean, they did that like a month or two ago with Deadpool. Like, and that got yanked off already once as it was. Like, it came back. Like, they signed another lease or another deal for it. Because that movie came out, and they thought we can wring more money out of this thing.
You think we'll just see that happen again? Will they just renew the license? Because I mean, don't they have another freaking Transformers movie coming out? Or
probably. Like, that Devastation game was good, and I think one of the Cybertron games was good also. Or not,
like
not
the
terrible.
War for Cybertron or something?
Maybe. I mean, they made 3 of them.
I thought Devastation, I think, is the one that's kind of just okay.
No, Devastation was the Platinum Games one.
Oh,
that's
okay.
that one looks like the cartoon. That's a good one.
So there's War of Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, and the Rise of the Darkspark.
Yeah.
And then, also Transformers Devastation did come down, so that's part of that as well.
I'd be happier if Michael Bay lost the license to Transformers than Activision.
Didn't he move on to being the producer or whatever now? He said he's not.
I think he's still doing them. He did the last one. I think he's doing the next one, too.
Yeah, they're not on the Xbox One store anymore.
Yeah.
So they're officially off all of the stores. Which I guess sucks if you're a...
Yeah, but you can always just buy them physically if you want.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Except for the PC ones, but I mean they're not. I mean, I don't think anyone's like clamoring for those.
Yeah, it just always sucks, because it gets you into that mind of, well, if they can do this for this, they can do this for any game, and.
I mean, yeah, games I've even wanted have been pulled off Steam, but it's like
right.
It shows how much I wanted them. That I have games on my Steam wish list from 5 years ago that I never bought and I can't buy anymore. But if I really wanted them, I would have bought them at some point.
Yeah, I think it just kind of scares people of the whole buying digitally sometimes.
But yeah, but it's all licensed stuff.
Right.
I mean, usually. I mean, there are a few edge cases where, like, non-licensed games came off Steam, but that's more rare, and that's usually, like, with regards to sequels and stuff. Like, we have a new version of this game out, so we're going to essentially, like, replace the old version with this one.
Right.
Which is kind of bullshit to me, but...
They do it, though. I just think that, like, Activision should take more care of letting people know, like, hey...
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. Yeah, like, put a press release out, and they have before. That's the thing. Put a press release out saying, like, these Transformers games and that Korra game will be off Steam and PSN by, December 21st or whatever. And if you want them, buy them, and we'll lower some games even lower the price down, which is nice. Like Alan Wake did that.
Yeah, not to mention, it's like, you get free sales. I mean, like you're basically pushing sales of old games. I mean, I don't know how much Sony or Steam or Microsoft would get from that, but like I'm sure Activision gets a nice cut of it. And like if anything, if you get say like 100 different sales of the different games that got taken down, I mean, is that really a bad thing? It's
Yeah.
just you'd think that they would pay more attention. Just that's all. I guess
Unless
on
it's
that.
just someone else who's like running that department, they just don't care.
Yeah, because I just think it's like from somebody that deals with this on the like a Rock Band perspective, where they have this problem, right? Where the licenses expire, but they tell us like if you go in the forums, they go, okay, you have a whole month to buy this group of songs that the license is about to expire if you want. It won't be back in the store after such and such day, so make sure you buy it because it's a license thing and it's going
Yeah.
down. It doesn't take much for Activision. You put out a press release for dumb crap. You can't do it for something like this that'll get you money. It's dumb. So I know this is a game that's sort of near and dear to you, or has been in the past. The Division. They keep adding things to the game itself, and they are very focused on that. But the dev talks about a possibility of they do have more stories that they want to do, and they feel like they can't do all of those in the current game. That perhaps there isn't a chance that there's a Division 2. Would you be interested in a Division 2?
I mean, maybe. I think the Division 1 had some severe problems, ultimately. Like, I think their whole Dark Zone thing was a poorly thought out idea. And I know, like, the player base for that game is essentially, like, nothing nowadays. Like, it's not, like, completely empty, but I can't imagine it's too healthy. So...
Yeah, I mean, they're still updating it, so I'd imagine he's saying that apparently it keeps growing. Every time they do an update, it grows more. So
I mean, like 17,000 people played it today, which is kind of on Steam anyway, which is, I mean, more than I thought.
right.
But
More people are playing that than Lawbreakers.
well, let's see. Lawbreakers is at, let's see here, 44.
44 people.
Played this today. Yeah.
Jesus.
21 are playing it now as we record.
I feel like for such the hype that it got because of its Cliffy B's game, it like came out and like no one cared.
I mean, it's a arena-based shooter that's not, I mean, that might have a few hooks into it, but I think the marketing for that game was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not distinctive enough to really draw it away from what people like, and when it tries to be distinctive, people don't like it.
Yeah, you got to catch on like PUBG. Then you'll have the millions of people playing that instead. But I'm always happy to see.
I guess I would play it more Division if it was like Division 2, if it was more single player focused, or they had more content. Like that was the problem with the Division 1 is I burned through the single player content, and it's like go do these crappy raids, and I'm like I don't want to. They're like, well, okay then, go play a different
Did
game.
the expansion not have single player stuff in it?
I think their free expansion just came out, a month or two ago. It added like 2 new zones to it. I haven't played that at all because I don't care about that game much anymore. But it's not like I have it actively installed or anything. I mean, it's the same thing
Right.
with No Man's Sky. I'm like, I'm not going to play this again. I'm okay. But I mean, it added like a new zone, like 2 new zones, but that's not really enough.
Well, let's hope that if they do, they take all the stuff that they've been doing for the first one and say, all right, what else do you want? More single player stuff? Let's add that in there. At least for Mark's sake, and I'm sure there are many people like you that would love to have more stuff where you don't have to do a bunch of raids. And
Yeah, I'm just not a big raid or instance person, honestly. Like, I think WoW is fine because, like, you get so overpowered that raids become very trivial at a certain point. But, like, on the whole, I'm just not into that type of stuff. Unless it was, like, with a very core group of people.
right, yeah,
And
I think that's always like one of those like, okay, if you have a bunch of people to play this game, then yeah.
Like, I have one other dude I play online games with, and that's about it. Like, even you and I don't play any games together.
I feel like there might be some that we could play together. One specifically that really talks about that. I know that they talk about it more in a local co-op sense, but still, it would
What?
be cool for us. The a way out.
Oh, the prison rape game, yeah.
Yeah, we could play that one for sure. Last thing, if we do talk about those games, though, NBC is talking about bringing back The Office, which they did have that season without Steve Carell, and it didn't do well.
They had 2 seasons, so it did well enough.
Well, I think that first season was almost like we really don't have anything. This did okay enough. Let's see what we can get out of a season 2 of it.
I mean, honestly, I know you're pretty down on the idea. I never watched The Office, honestly. Like, I watched like the first episode, and I was like, okay. But I'm 1,000% more behind a Office revival than a Mad About You revival.
What?
Fuck
Is that
Paul
seriously being
Reiser.
considered?
Yeah, fuck Paul Reiser and Helen Hunt. Like, they are horrible actors, and like, no, I don't want to see them at all.
Those were 2 shows in the 90s that I never got into. Mad About You, Friends I thought was okay, but I just never got...
Friends are the chick show. Like,
yeah.
I know of no straight men who like that show.
Well, my stepdad liked that show. He's pretty straight, but like...
So
I think that was the only...
So you think, no.
but yeah.
Like that, like, yeah, like... There are shows that I can see coming back. Like, I think Roseanne coming back, that's a relatively good idea.
For that to come back.
Yeah. Like, I don't think like a Home Improvement coming back would be good. Like, for example.
You basically got that with the Last Man Standing. You don't need a Home Improvement coming back.
Yeah.
Other than to see Jonathan Taylor Thomas being on there, but like you basically got Tim Allen as the dude from Home Improvement on Last Man Standing. So I don't see why you need to have that come back other than Tim Allen needs a show to be on. But
or like, I'm not into it necessarily, but I guess like Fuller House is fine enough. Or even, I thought Girl Meets World is good. But
yeah, I thought Girl Meets World was good. I thought Fuller House was fine, like you said. It's not anything that wows me or whatever, but... Yeah.
But like shows like Mad About You, it's like no.
Yeah, just no, and they're much older at this point. It's like, whatever. But hey, I just remember watching those 2 seasons and kind of thinking, oh, it's just not the same. And Andy's funny and everything, but it's just, I don't know if they can get it to work with new characters and some of the old ones. All right, then.
Even that like Will and Grace reboot, like I guess it's fine enough, but I don't think people are like clamoring for it. And I kind of feel the same way about X-Files. Like they keep trying to hype up like the new season of X-Files, and I'm like, I'm good.
I always meant to watch I meant to watch that show a lot more, and I watched I think like most of season 1, and then for some reason I never got back to it. But
well, X-Files the revival is great because it had one like fantastic episode, 4 middling ones, and 1 crappy one, or like 1 or 2 crappy ones, and it's like, well, you only got 6 episodes, and if one of these is good and the other 5 are hit or miss, you might want to look at quality control just a little better.
Yep, sorry, I had to see if I could quiet down the crowd there for a second. I don't know if it was loud on your end, but I'm here it next to me, so I have no idea how that sounds for you. But all right, before I guess we talk about that, there was literally nothing other than like the two Fallen Legion games finally coming to PC and PS4. Then I think one of them was on Vita, and it's not well liked from what I've seen on Vita. And yeah, there's some games just not even worth mentioning that are kind of coming, I guess, in the next. I guess if you're never played Super Meat Boy on Switch, and like next week,
Yeah.
go play that.
And Fear is coming to the Switch, I think, also. That's about it.
Yeah, Outbreak, the New Nightmare, whatever that is for the Xbox One, in a couple of days, and Barbarian Souls on PC. Yeah. Was
I
that
mean,
supposed to be Dark Souls Barbarian?
looking at the Steam release page is such a nightmare because there are 10, if not 20 new games that are, like, releasing every day on Steam.
Oh Lord, yeah. If you started to count like the Steam releases, we'd be here all day talking about that. But all right, let's talk about games that we are looking forward to for 2018. I guess start off with your ones that you're really excited about here.
Let's see. The two probably I'm more excited about are Dragon Ball, which is coming out in like 4 weeks, and what was it? Far Cry 5. Like, that should be good.
Yeah, that should be. I mean, it should be Far Cry 5. Far Cry, with all the mechanics you would expect, with the storyline that's gonna make everybody talk.
With the added goal of killing white supremacists, so where can you go wrong?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Of course, you can also kill some of the KKK and Wolfenstein too, but this is a little different because they frame it in.
They frame it as what's going on right now. So.
Yeah, exactly, and it's gonna turn some heads. I'm sure, gonna make people start thinking about who they're talking about, and all that stuff. That's another reason why Roseanne coming back is great, because that show has all the fodder it needs. To the point I wonder if Trump's gonna watch it and go, "How can I get this off the air?"
Yeah,
but
I don't think he'll care. Like, two small potatoes for him, probably.
Yeah, who knows? You never know if it gets big enough. Maybe he pays attention. But if he ever gets his head out of Fox News, we'll see. But do you think Last of Us 2 legitimately comes out this year?
I mean, maybe, because I don't like. It might, like, we're at the tail end, but I don't think. I mean, I say that because Naughty Dog isn't working on anything else. I don't think.
No, yeah. They're pretty much done with Uncharted, you would think. So.
At least for now. I mean, they'll probably make another one like a few years down the road. With those characters, or with like Nathan's brother or whatever. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, if they're doing some kind of collection, somebody else would be doing that too. It would be Naughty Dog. So yeah, you'd think everything would be behind Last of Us 2. Yeah, there's a possibility that does come out this year. I wouldn't be surprised though more if it gets delayed again, even if it's like March or something of 2019. It's very possible, but I also wonder about Kingdom Hearts 3. We've seen a lot of it recently. Just some worlds here and there. You'd have to think this would be the year, but they could delay it again.
Yeah, like, that's another game where I think it's just perpetually in, like, not coming out. Like, I think it will eventually, but who knows?
It's my number one game if it comes out this year, for sure. I cannot, like, I've played everything else. I'm just waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 and to finish this series the way it's supposed to be, and then they're supposed to move on to some kind of other arc with other characters and whatever. But just to be able to get the finale, or at least what you hope is the finale, and And be done with it. Stop making us wait anymore, Square. Let's get on with it. Please.
Until they start making Kingdom Hearts 4.
You would think it would reset at that point, but I guess they could call it Kingdom Hearts 4.
I mean, that's a Final Fantasy 15. Like,
Yeah,
look how dumb that title is.
I know, but these actually correlate with each other. It's not like, and then they have other games that correlate with each other that have weirder names. So, 358 over 2 days. I mean, come on. And that's just the weirdest one, probably. Yeah, Spider-Man. I know you're really. I'm always up for the Spider-Man games, but I think you like them more than I do. So.
I mean, I like a good superhero game. I mean, I that has a shot of coming out this year on like Crackdown 3.
Yeah.
And like, it's been a good decade since a good Spider-Man game's been out. So
yeah, and you would think with Insomniac making it, it's going to be really good.
And I think his power set like really fits into like a superhero game mold.
Yeah,
like
that and Batman.
Yeah, it's open world. I mean, because you can't, like, the obvious one is Superman, but you can't do that because he's invulnerable. Like,
yeah, that's why there's never been a really good Superman game. It's just really hard to do. There's also been very rare that there's a good Superman movie. So
yeah,
I think it'll be really good. Just since Insomniac has a great track record, so you would, and then some of the game, the stuff we've seen obviously is very dramatic and everything, but just kind of want to see how it's going to run and just see more of it. And it just says 2018, so I guess there's always a chance that it says 2019 very quickly as well. God of War. I'm kind of like I really like this series, but I think I'm more intrigued by that they're moving into Norse mythology and what happens with this kid. What does this mean for Kratos?
I mean, honestly, I've never been a huge fan of the series. Like, this one interests me because it looks open world, and it basically looks like what they did with Tomb Raider, like making it more survival focused, hunter focused. You're not just kind of QTEing your way through every encounter, stuff like that.
Yeah, because I'm assuming you'll have to feed the kid as well, and it seems like he's trying to teach him things, so there's that part of it, and he seems more human. So how is that going to affect things? I'd assume the boss battles are still going to be kind of QTE.
I imagine they'll be more tactical. Like, you have to hit certain points of the boss to weaken them, and then you eventually just bring them down.
Yeah, I think we need to see more of it. They didn't really say too much about it, the PSX thing, and just see what all is in there. I'm just excited to play and figure out what exactly is going to go on here with him and how they're going to translate this into more God of War, I guess, because this is, restarting the series in a different way. Red Dead 2 feels like everybody's waiting for this game to come out, with good reason. Cowboys shooting stuff, and
I guess I'm a little more neutral on the prequel aspect of it, but I think you have to because Red Dead ended the way it did.
Right. I'm assuming it'll go into bleed into number one, or
I imagine whatever. It ties the end of 2 leads into 1.
That would be interesting. You think that they'll? Well, they already made Red Dead backwards compatible on Xbox One. You think that they'll do some kind of remaster for?
I doubt it.
One, or...
I mean, people still want the game to come to PC, but Rockstar doesn't seem to give a fuck.
Probably not until... Is this one even coming?
No, they haven't said. Which is weird because, I mean, GTA 5 does really well on PC. Like that's another one you go like, wait a second, why not?
Is there something about the gameplay that makes it hard for them to
No,
put it
it's
on
just
PC?
God
It's
no.
weird. Like everything goes to PC now. Like it's just so weird to have a game that even Destiny came to PC, which the first one did not. So
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why they don't come to PC. Like it's just very strange.
yeah, that's really weird that you still have a company that refuses a game to come to PC. But
But then like GTA 5 does.
yeah, and like you said, it does great numbers on PC. So you can do the mods, and they have a problem with people doing mods for that game for a while.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
uh,
there are currently looks like 1 million people playing GTA 5 every day on PC.
yeah,
And 9 million, like 91 million people own it on PC.
I know,
So
man, people could own Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. Come on,
yeah,
Take Two. Let's get on the program here, Rockstar. But yeah, outside of that little caveat there, I think this could be one of the biggest games everybody's talking about for a long time. Whenever it does come out, so uh, I don't know. I still never played the Red Deads. Maybe at some point I'll go downstairs, pop it or play it on my PS3, the first one.
I
But
mean, the first one's really. I never played that. I don't think many people did. Like it's pretty rough.
well, the Red Dead Redemption 1.
Revolver.
No.
Well,
Well,
Red Dead
not
Revolver.
Revolver. I just meant the sequel to this. Then
Yeah, I mean
I
Red
think.
Dead. Yeah, but it's still they are still connected. They are still part of the same franchise. That's why I say that. But
Oh, okay.
because I think they made Revolver. I think.
Yeah, they made a Revolver, and I think that's on Xbox One for backwards compatible as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, I,
but I
I
think
think
most.
I think also the zombie mode gets a lot of praise for the Redemption
Yeah,
as well.
that was
So.
cool.
And probably my most anticipated is Ni no Kuni 2. I know we're both looking forward to this whenever they stop delaying it and it actually comes out. But yeah, I really like the first one. I never got to finish it, but I'm just kind of interested how they do the new characters and the different battle system and all that,
Well,
how the story goes.
looks like more action based, which is probably good. Like I really didn't like that battle system in the first game.
Yeah, still felt like they could have kept some of the little Pokemon aspects in there, but it's
I mean,
fine. This one kind of seems more
I,
like a Tales game.
that's actually fine to me. It's just like it just felt very awkward, like how they did it in the
Yeah,
first game. Like
I agree with you there.
I think I got like once you start juggling like multiple characters, I'm like this is kind of a nightmare.
Hmm. Hopefully they streamlined it. It seems that they are, from what they've shown. But hopefully with all the delays, it means it comes out, don't have to do a lot of patches, and you can just play it and enjoy
Yeah,
for Bandai Namco. You think the Shadow of the Tomb Raider actually comes out?
I think they have to announce it first. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it comes out.
Right now it's
I
just
don't.
based off the rumor, right?
Yeah, I don't know why Square's so kind of gun shy about announcing it. Like it's been leaked like almost last year, or if not longer. It's like,
Yeah,
what's
like
the
what are you
deal?
waiting for? Just announce it
Oh,
already.
I mean, unless they're just going to go like it's out now. I mean, that might be actually kind of cool. Uh, but we'll see.
For a company that's so crazy about how their games sell, I'd imagine not. But
Yeah, that's a. I mean, I think whenever whenever it does get announced and released, I think Square will just have unrealistic expectations for it still.
oh,
Like
you know it.
they'll expect it to sell 10 million copies, and it's like this franchise is not capable of that. Like the way it is, at least.
They should
And
know that their American-based, or their non-Japanese-based games don't sell like crazy well. Just
Well, even their Japanese-based games don't do that well. I mean, Final Fantasy 15 did okay, but compared to how much money they put into it, like, hell no, it didn't do good.
It has to be doing well enough now that they're doing all the extra content, I'd imagine.
Well, they're trying. I think it's a point of like trying to keep people invested in it. Which I don't know why. Like, I don't think you're going to hook new people or like, going, oh, it has a multiplayer mode now. Let's get into this game. Like, that's not.
It may also be because they know it's going to be a long time before you get to see the next game, whether it's a 7 remake or a 16, whenever that gets announced, or so.
I mean, that might be one good reason. Like, they already have the assets essentially. Like, they just have to make some new parts. But I mean, they already have the characters and everything. So just slap them into a new environment. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, and you add more stories to some of these characters, like everybody complains about. And it's true, like Luna not really having any kind of an arc unless you watch the movie.
Or even the bad guy kind of
Arden
not having an arc. Or that
he's just kind of there.
Or that other chick, like that mercenary chick. Like, I think she popped up in one of the DLCs, but that's not.
Oh, Ariana.
She just kind of appears and then is like, all right, my story's like my little part's done later. And it's like,
isn't she the one that you fight at the who's part of the bad side at first, and then she joins you?
Yeah, well, she's a mercenary. That's why.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah. So that, like, I agree with you. I think she would have a pretty interesting story to tell if they do go that route. It would be kind of cool to know Arden's backstory, because he just appears in the movie. Already has a title, and then he's kind of playing devil's advocate throughout the game.
Speaking of that, he pops up in Final Fantasy or Assassin's Creed Origin.
Oh, he does?
Because I completed that Final Fantasy 15 little puzzle thing, and like once you activate the pyramid, he like beams in, looks around, and then just goes away. Or like a big it looks like a summoned bird comes after him. And Bayek is looking at all this going like, what the fuck is going on?
That makes sense for him, though. It seems like he has the weird powers. So at least it's not Noctis in there trying to just randomly appear.
You get the Ultima Blade, and you get a camel-looking chocobo.
Yeah, that's decent. Does it play the music while you?
No.
Oh.
They didn't go that far.
That would have been a plus. Yes.
Compared, I thought that Final Fantasy stuff or the Assassin's Creed stuff in Final Fantasy 15 was maybe too long, but I appreciate that they went for it. This is 5 minutes worth of content, if that. And I was like, why even bother?
Just to see if they could hook people in, I guess, to buying it.
I mean, yeah, we could just YouTube it instead.
True. Sure do. Some people, they're all about experiencing it, though. Are you, we both really liked Yakuza 0. Are you pumped for Yakuza 6?
Yeah. I mean, I know nothing about it, and I've only played 0 and Kiwami, so I'll have no idea what the story is. But I guess I have hopes that it plays better than Kiwami, and yeah, I guess I'll be curious to see how the franchise ends, because I think that's the end point of that franchise, or at least with Kiryu's character.
And yeah, they definitely need to move on to a different character. So plus you'll get Kiwami 2 as well at some point this year, so you'll get double your dose of Yakuza.
I mean, I'm sure I'll be the one reviewing that, but I'm not sure if I really want to.
Yeah, after the first one. Maybe there's more to do in the second one. You never know. Right? That was one of the ones that came out on PS2.
Yeah.
So, right? Yeah. Anything else on your end that you're anticipating here?
Let's see. The other two on my list were Metro Exodus. I've liked the Metro games in the past, even though they've been kind of buggy.
That trailer at E3 looked really cool.
Yeah, and I imagine it'll be more of the same type of gameplay. Although it looked like a little more, I wouldn't say with it, but like it looks like more technology is going on at least, or like
Yeah, there
more
was.
varied areas. Because you have like that train thing. So, and the only other game really is Vampire when that comes out.
That's from the
Don't Nod.
Don't Nod
Life is
people,
Strange. Yeah. And then I
It
think
looks good in the gameplay that I've seen of it.
after that they're probably making Life is Strange 2. They're probably working on that right now. But like there haven't been a ton of good vampire games because that is kind of also kind of a hard concept. Like there's been I think one, which was like Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah,
the second one. Like you have a few games on your list like Darksiders 3, which I guess I'm interested in, but I don't think it's coming out this year or next year, I should say. Or like Concrete Genie, like that, like weird looking building artistic game, but I guess I don't know enough about that either.
The Concrete Genie. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that I look really like he's graffitiing the wall or
Yeah, and they're coming to
the
life.
light thing.
Yeah.
That's sort of what looked interesting to me is just how they do that throughout the game and just being what other mechanics does he gain more abilities with that? What's the purpose of it? Just I like that whole aesthetic of it. Just want to see more, I guess. I did the Left Alive stuff that I've seen is interesting enough, and it comes from Square and Front Mission. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite series from Square, but I like it well enough that I'm intrigued. One of the ones that really intrigues me just because it's an indie game that kind of right up my alley with the whole music and all that stuff. Wonder Song looks just incredibly silly, but also has like the same things I like from Night in the Woods, that same kind of color scheme, and just you're using this like rotating spinner thing that has different songs that go with different colors. So, depending on who you're fighting, you might have to make sure you have the right color, and you're just a bard that's singing it. It's just kind of cool. It's just from the humble bundle of people. So, it could be one of those like cool little indie games that you might want to check out when it comes out. Code Vein. I don't really like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or anything like that, but when you tie in a more like anime RPG look or whatever, I might be able to forgive some of the being hard. So I'm kind of excited to see more from this, and just like when as it gets closer to launch, how hard is this going to be, and is it going to be really Dark Souls, or is it just they're saying it sort of is like that, and maybe they don't make it so hard, but I just like the look and the characters and everything for right now. Wolf Among Us 2. Wolf Among Us is probably still my favorite Telltale narrative. So having the second one, obviously going to be playing that for sure. Just hope that
Yeah, you got
it
into
can match up to the first one.
Yeah, we got into a long chat about Telltale and like their slow decline over the years.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like this might be their one where they can kind of go off the cuff a little bit, because it's based off a more comic series and it's not, this huge license that everybody's expecting this, and this from. So because they can have more freedom, that also might be why they can, and it's darker too, right? So that's some of the things that made the first one really good. Hopefully they can match that in the second one. And then you have a bunch of like, I'm interested sort of in Lost Sphere after playing the demo, but it's not like I would also be fine with, if we don't get a review code, just passing on it and playing it later. Dissidia is one of those that I feel like I have to watch somebody play, but if it just to see, because I liked the PSP games enough, but I also never got to really play them on a system. I'm playing them on the computer, and it's hard as
Those are
hell to play them on the computer. So
like those were like rough games because they were basically like virtual on, but that game worked because you had two flight sticks.
Right.
Like the PSP had an analog stick and 4 buttons, and I was like, this doesn't quite work.
yeah, if they streamline it better, just being able to have all the cameos, and you're having 3 people that you're fighting with too. The story is also supposedly really good in those games, so if anything, there's that too that I'm really interested in. And the more I see, at first, when they announced Detroit, I was kind of like, oh, here's another one of those games like Beyond Two Souls or whatever that's going to come out. Everybody's going to talk great things about it, and I'm not going to care about it. But the more I keep seeing of it, the more I get interested in it. So here's hoping that it actually comes out this year, and here's hoping that it lives up to all the hype that they're giving it. Because I'm also worried it could be one of those 5-hour games, and you go through the scenarios like maybe once or twice, and you're kind of like, all right, I'm done with this, So I think you might have played like Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, that's the one I've liked. I actually do have Heavy Rain and the other one, the Ellen Page
Beyond
one.
Two Souls.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think those two kind of up their own ass.
There's that
Even Indigo Prophecy kind of has some of that problem to an extent, but I mean, it's a lot more of a game than those two things are, which is why I like it. Like, I just don't, like, I guess it looks interesting, but I just don't know how much of a game it'll be, and if that game will be any good, and then how bad the story's going to end up being.
Yeah, that's what I worry about too. Like how much of a game is it? Is it just the scenarios? Now, I mean, if they get you into feeling for these androids or whatever, then okay. Like, obviously, the one they showed at, was it Paris Games Week? That one obviously...
the PSX show.
Oh, the PSX show. That one obviously hits home for me.
There's a... Go on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a British show that's also on AMC called Humans. That's basically the same thing. It's robots, like androids, commingling with people, and like some of these robots have like self-awareness and self-consciousness, and it's kind of that. I look at Detroit, and like this is that game. Like this is that concept. Only the robots are less sexy.
Yeah, I actually I've sort of been interested in that show, and then I always forget that it's on. I don't watch it. But Nate, now that you've reminded me, I might actually go try to check it out. But
watch Black Mirror first.
Yes, I didn't even watch Black Mirror first. But yeah, no, I think this is one of those where, first of all, again, they have to give us a release date and make sure it's coming out this year, because they've delayed this game quite a few times, or there's been shows where they don't even have anything from this game at all. So, yeah, I mean, look, 2017 was a pretty damn great year for games. I said that a couple of times during the Best Games thing that we did, but it really was. And there's quite a few games that I might be playing into 2018 if some of these don't pan out, just because I still want to go play Nier if that ever goes on sale again. And still a couple more things, so some indie games that I want to check out for sure. So, and I'm sure there will be plenty of surprises as well. So getting to start the whole new year over is exciting, and it starts off pretty quick. I think on, what is it, the 19th with something? I know Dragon Ball Z Fighters and Monster Hunter World come out the same day.
23rd, I think.
The 26th?
26th, that's it.
And then...
Two days after my birthday.
Yeah, there you go. And then Dissidia as well comes out at the end of the month, like the 30th. And There's a couple other ones as well. The Digimon Cyber Sleuth thing. Just because I have the first one, it's probably the best Digimon game that's come out in a long time, if ever. So hopefully, after the stinker that was the freaking Next Order thing, that was awful. Let's hope that this continues the first thing, the first game, rather well. Either way, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in 2018. Still got you still got a couple weeks though to enjoy games from 2017, and you might want to do that. There's still some sales going on. I know the GameStop one ended today, so I don't know if they'll have another.
You shook your fist in anger.
Yes, I shook my fist in anger, realizing that that sale was rotating. It wasn't a set sale like the one that they had during the Christmas time. And so, like, I think they had Nier for a couple of days. I didn't realize it. I realized I had some trade-ins I could do, and then, it's not there. So I just got a PSN card and got Night in the Woods, which not a bad decision on my part. But
I mean, I was telling you should just save that money. I would have.
I wanted to play that. Helps when I'm doing my blurbs tomorrow while I'm at the laundromat. So helps me be able to actually write stuff about it without having to go read a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it's a really good game, I think, for what it is. But either way, yeah, definitely lots of stuff to go check out. And yeah, can't wait for 2018 in gaming to get started. And hopefully all of you guys are ready for another year in not only this podcast, but in everything else. And, well, maybe next week we'll have things to talk about news-wise. It'll get back to sort of normal. They'll start being announcements and things like that, because this was kind of one of those just really we had to come up with this most anticipated games thing just to have a thing to talk about. So, all right. Until next week, we'll see you later, everybody.
Yep, later.
Happy New Year.